it's Hope here from Crafty Hope, and I am working on ICAD number 50 for ICAD 2021. ICAD is basically, well, it means Index Card a Day, and it's a challenge from Tammy Garcia of Daisy Yellow, in which you take an index card any size and decorate it for the 61 days of June and July. Now, Tammy provides some prompts and themes if you want to use them. There's also a couple others out there, like the Mixed Media ICAD prompts from Nina Fickett. And for the most part, I have been, I don't know, going back and forth on whether or not I use the prompts. But on this day, I decided to use both of them. So the Daisy Yellow prompt was typography, which is basically the art of letters, if I'm remembering right. And then the other prompt, the mixed media ICAD prompt, was antiquing. So here I'm antiquing this card a little. First, I put down some old papers. They could be antique, maybe. I don't think so though. But I'm antiquing them a little bit using, I believe that's some walnut stain distress ink. Oh, that was hard to get out. I don't know why. So I just put that around kind of messily the outside of my collaged papers, and then wet that pretty thoroughly with a paintbrush just to antique the edges. So what have I got here? I'm going to blot that up just a little bit before I move on. And that kind of took a little color out of it, which is fine. I didn't need it to be so completely dark. And you see, I'm sitting here. I've got that's a block for I guess, a printing press or something like that I bought at an antique store. And I thought I was going to use it to stamp because it both had like typography on it and was antique. But I changed my mind. Instead, for typography, I'm just going to use this. It's a stencil for letter sizing. If you see, it says lettering guide on there. I found it at the thrift store, so I antiqued it. But I'm just going to use it as a stencil, and I'm using a contour brush. That's a makeup contour brush from the Dollar Tree, and that distress ink, and just going through these letters and making it a stencil on there, just kind of putting that in the background. This really, I know that was supposed to be one of the prompts and one of the things that stood out, but really, for me, the prompts have been more about kind of pushing me as a way to get started on these cards, and not really all about how I'm going to end up. So I dipped into an envelope I had of some like focal type images, and I had this stamp. I think it's a Dina Wakley stamp that I put on like a jelly print and then cut out. So that's all it is. And I thought that pop of green looked really great against those kind of subtle hues I've got going on that card. And then I took a piece of coffee dyed, I think, cheesecloth. It's some cheesecloth, either tea or coffee dyed, and wanted to use that too because it's also been antiqued, I guess, as an effect, and wanted to put that kind of as a textural element behind my that little stamped image. And I wanted to add a little bit more of the green into the card just to give it some consistency. So I'm using, that's a Tombow marker. I guess any kind of marker would have worked, but I'm just using it to make a couple little lines on the card just to, like I said, bring that color in there just a little bit. And then additionally, I'm using Distress Oxide Spray in Cracked Pistachio. Yeah. And I'm just going to do a couple spritzes right on my card. It mostly came out, I think, as a mist, maybe? I'm not sure. Maybe it didn't come out at all. And so I just splashed it onto my card before drying it. And then for a more antique feel, that's some Distress Spray in Rusty Hinge. So that's, I like that Rusty Hinge color. Rusty goodness is my jam. And then again, I'm going to dry that. And I'm drying between those layers there, because if I had sprayed that Cracked Pistachio and then the Rusty Hinge, those could have just mixed together and, I don't know, made kind of a murky muddiness. And I definitely wanted that Cracked Pistachio to stand out. So I made sure I dried between those just to keep them a little more crisp in their colors. So I'm going to start layering these things I've picked out, and I'm using matte gel medium just because I knew that I could spread it out with that palette knife to help get that. And I really didn't. I think it was a little bit of overkill to put the the matte gel medium on that piece of dictionary paper with the stamp on it, but that's fine. It was already out. It works. Now, to add a little touch of fun, and I've been stitching everything lately, and this is before I even took the Mixed Media Textile Collage class from Sarah Hartman on the Southern Gals Designs Creative Academy, but I still have always had a thing for fabric and threads and all of that. So I'm adding some texture here with just some black thread and some straight lines, some straight stitches. And I'm doing it kind of over the edge of that cheesecloth. I don't know why I went off camera here, y'all. I'm sorry. I don't know. But I'm kind of just tacking down along the edge of that cheesecloth. So it kind of is doing double duty. It's kind of helping that from being all willy-nilly on that right side, but it's also adding these like great almost like mark making stitches. So that's all I'm going to do, and I'm actually going to add a couple of the stitches over on the left side as well. It's just kind of my jam. I kind of make everything fair. If I put it in one place, I'm more than likely going to put it somewhere else too, just to have that consistency across my art. So I think I'm finishing up these ones over here on the right side. It's hard to tell. I think, yeah, one more maybe there. And once I start stitching, it's so hard for me to stop. I just want to stitch and stitch and stitch. So I'm really loving those, but like I said, I really wanted some consistency. So I'm going to go over there on that left side of my cheesecloth and stitch it down as well. I think, yeah, that gel medium was still tacky while I was doing this, and maybe that was some of my problem, is I was getting it all over my needle and my fingers and everything else. So, and I do apologize for going off frame here. I think I was distracted by the gel medium and not thinking about the camera. So please forgive me for that. Alright, so I have finally finished my stitching, and I am just going to tie a couple knots on the back. I'm not going to tape this down or anything because the knots I put down are really secure. At least this time with this thread. And y'all, this thread, I believe, is thread that I'm trying to look at it and see. I think it's thread that I picked up at the Dollar Tree in the hair care aisle, and it's the thread used for hair weaving. So it came with some needles and the spool of thread, and I really like this thread, y'all. I don't know what else to tell you. It's pretty sturdy. So I took a book. I don't even know if it was a novel or what, but a book, and found the words. It was an unusually good one, and decided that's going to be my sentiment for this card. So I'm going to use my glue stick and stick that down, and then just grab a pencil to kind of accent around the words. And that's going to be it for this card, y'all. I hope you enjoyed this. I think I've only got like 10 ICADs, maybe less, to share with y'all. So thanks for hanging in there, and we'll see what we got to finish this out. All right, y'all. Keep on crafting on. Bye.